Hey there, and welcome to CRIM 300, Introduction to Criminal Justice. My name is Dr. Stephen Bell. I will be your professor for this class. I posted my biography in the Canvas modules, but just to give you a quick peek into who's going to be teaching this class, prior to coming to KU, I spent about 20 years, a little over 20 years with the Los Angeles Police Department, and then I've had a variety of faculty assignments around the country, whether it be here in Kansas, South Dakota, Pennsylvania, North Carolina. So I've taught at several different institutions, and now here at the University of Kansas, uh, given an opportunity to share some of that academic and practitioner experiences with you. So with that being said, I really encourage you to be active in this classroom, be interactive in this classroom. If you have questions about the job market, the application to a career that this classroom can provide, or even just curiosities, please ask your questions. Ask me, share them with your classmates if you'd like, or you can ask them to me privately. My contact information is in the syllabus and in the modules. The thing is, I have a very specific path that led me to this virtual classroom we're in today. But you have a completely different path, and so do all your classmates. So combined, we have a really diverse set of experiences when it comes to the criminal justice system. You may have already had a job in the criminal justice system, or you've experienced the CJ system, or you've had family members that have. And all of those lead you to where you are today. And I think those types of life experiences bring this kind of classroom out of the textbook and into reality. So with that being said, let me just talk real quickly about some logistics of the class, and then we're going to talk about some of the content that we can expect. The first thing is this is going to be a completely online class, asynchronous, which means we're not going to have a specific meeting time. The modules are posted in Canvas, and so each week will be a new module, and which will cover a set of chapters or a chapter, depending on the week that we're looking at. So usually we'll be covering 2 chapters each week since this is a condensed course, 8 weeks. Our weeks, speaking of weeks, our weeks are going to be Monday morning through Sunday night in general, with the exception of the first and last week, which has a little bit of a shorter week based on the start and end dates of our semester. But in general, our week will start on Monday morning and it'll end on Sunday night, which means our assignments will be due on Sunday night in general. Just like criminal justice, we have rules and then we have exceptions to those rules. In general, our assignments will be due on Sunday night, but keep in mind, if we have any discussion boards, those initial posts are often due on Wednesday. Make sure you check your due dates. I've posted every due date for every assignment in the module. It should upload into your calendar if you use a due date calendar as well. So those use the resources that are available to you to make sure you keep up to date on those assignments. One, it'll keep you on track with what we're trying to accomplish here in this class. And two, in general, I don't accept late assignments, especially if there's no communication prior to the due date. So if the due date comes and goes and I haven't heard from you and there is no submission, there won't be, in general, an opportunity to make that assignment up. With that being said, my contact information, as I said, is in the syllabus and in the module. Make sure if you have any questions about the material, reach out to me. My office hours are posted if you want to meet during my office hours via Zoom or Teams or some sort of online video platform, or even a phone call. We can make that happen during my office hours. I strive to answer your emails within 24 hours. Just bear in mind that if you send an email over the weekend or on a KU holiday, or if you send an email at 11:30 at night, I'm probably not going to see it until the next day during my office hours when I check my email. So just keep that in mind. It may not be an immediate response if you send them outside of business hours. With all that being said, we kind of took care of the housekeeping issues. Let's talk about what we're going to cover this semester. I'm excited. This is one of my favorite classes. Introduction to CJ is a great overview, obviously, of the criminal justice system and talks about exactly what that word means, the system of criminal justice, because it has 3 prongs. One of the first things we're going to learn in this class is that the criminal justice system has 3 prongs: policing, courts, and corrections. And you're going to hear that over and over: policing, courts, and corrections. And we're going to learn how those 3 prongs of the CJ system interact and unfortunately how they sometimes have challenges interacting. They don't interact, and how some folks will call it the criminal justice non-system because there's uh, some competing interests and some lack of communication challenges that we're going to discuss. We're going to talk about the history of policing, the different styles of policing, whether it be patrol or investigations or community policing, community outreach. When it comes to the court system, we're going to talk about how uh, how we incarcerate folks, the different types of incarceration systems, the history of incarceration, and what's really interesting about the correction system is how there are alternatives to incarceration. Not every crime should and does result in jail or prison time. What are some of those other alternatives? What about probation? What about halfway houses? What about some sort of supervised release? We're going to talk about all that. And in the court system, we're going to talk about how we have different actors and different participants in that court system, whether it be the prosecutors, or the defense attorneys, or the juries, the judges, and who manages a courtroom, and what constitutional rights are afforded, and what responsibilities do each of those actors have within that system. When it comes to courts and especially corrections and how we enter people into the criminal justice system, one of the most interesting things to think about in this class is why is it that we are putting people into the system? Why are we punishing folks? What is the whole point of punishing? And what we'll do is kind of compare that to sometimes the way that we punish or discipline children. If we look at the way parents will discipline their children, why did they give their child a spanking or why did they ground their child? Was it to help them make a better decision in the future? Is that why we put folks in jail? Do we put folks in jail so that they think, oh, I don't want to go to jail again, so I'm not going to do that crime again? Or are we putting folks in jail because that's the best place for them to get, drug rehab or a high school diploma or mental health services? Or are we putting folks in jail because maybe we just don't want them in our society anymore? There's a whole variety of reasons why we incarcerate and why we use alternative sentencings as well. So that's just a real brief overview of what we are going to cover here in CRIM 300, Introduction to Criminal Justice. I am really looking forward to meeting each and every one of you this semester and interacting with you via our learning management system, via Canvas and the discussion board posts. And I hope you really enjoy this class. Again, reach out if you have any questions. Have a great semester. Rock chalk.